very much for coming to our launch. I just want to acknowledge everyone who is here. Thank you for being part of us today and for being part of this great history. Thank you so much. It's something that I don't take lightly. May God bless you all.
Thank you.
Disclaimer, I'm not educated. So if I use broken English, just bear with me.
It's okay.
English does not invent anything. So if you can allow me to walk with you through the journey of my life, if you can give me time, your precious time, I think you, by the end of this presentation, you'll be in a position of understanding where we are coming from and where we are right now. I've seen that when we met His Excellency, a lot of people, they commented, and it's unfortunate that most of them, they commented on a point where they were not informed. So if you can allow me, I would want to take you through the whole journey. Who is Maxwell, where I come from, and where we are right now. My name is Maxwell Chikumbutso. The name Maxwell was given because my name is a foreign name. It's not easy to pronounce. So I was born some 44 years ago at a farm, in a hut, the thatched huts that we find in Africa. My mom, she had some complications during the time that she was giving birth to me. So I was supposed to be killed because, you know, that time, most of the people who were staying in the farms were foreigners, and they have the culture that if a child was to be born, for example, if the child could not cry, was supposed to be killed. So I didn't cry, and I was supposed to be killed, but my mom refused. They beat me, they did everything, I didn't cry, until later on, I cried. So I'm not an easy person to bring down. All my critics, you must know that I'm not easy to bring down. I'm not boasting, but I'm telling you, this is who I am. I'm a fighter, and I don't take defeat lightly. My journey started, I think, the scientific journey started when I was around 15 years old. That's when I converted to be a Christian. I was not born a Christian, but I converted to be a Christian. So that time, I was very young, and that was the time that my education has ended. Due to some financial difficulties, I was raised by a single parent. So that resulted in me dropping off from school, and I was Form 2. I was known in the community of being a sort of like a creative kind of a person, and I was very good in making wire cars. And up to now I can make. I'm very good in that. Yeah. So my mom used to beat me because I was like a naughty boy. You couldn't even find me home. I would go to the dump sites, try to find some components, some parts that I would come and experiment and test with. But I was still blank. That was at 15 years. It all happened in 1997. Yeah, 1997. I was 17 years old, and I still remember vividly. It was on the 23rd of September. I was praying in the church at a corner. God visited me, and I heard a voice which says, "Thus said the Lord, I'm going to use you." I was given a scripture which is in the book of Isaiah 49 verse 7, which says, "Thus said the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel, is Holy One. To him whom men despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise. Princes also shall worship because of the Lord. That is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee." From that day, there was a man of God. Unfortunately, he's not here yet. He was preaching, and I was at the back of the church. He called me out and he said, "God told you something. See me before you go." Not these modern prophets. I've seen real prophets, real men of God. That man, he took me. He's the man who mentored me. He taught me how to pray, how to talk to God, and I began to grow in both wisdom and intelligence. Just a few years later, in 1999, I did my first working prototype. It was a radio broadcasting transmitter. It was highly publicized on national television. It made waves. I was broadcasting illegally in the community that I stayed. I had my DJs. We had our slots. Some were DJs for reggae, some for Christian music. We were like that, and we were very happy. Then when the news broke out, the minister, who was the Minister of Information and Communication at that time, he said, no, we have to be stopped. And we were stopped. That was it. I never got funding. I never got anything. But I still remember very well that time I could see visions. Not when I was asleep, even when I was walking. I would see circuit boards. There is no one on earth who can come and say, I taught Maxwell electronics or any other subject in engineering. God taught me, and that's a fact. So I was very interested in technology that time after the broadcasting authority, the broadcasting transmitter, and I was very prayerful. We had our group which we called the Interdenomination Rescue Team, where different churches the youth would gather at one place, would pray. So one day there was a lady, she was invited. Her name is Rose Mazula. She was then the Broadcasting Authority Director, the Director of Broadcasting Authority. So when I gave a testimony, she said, no, I think I need to see you. She invited me. I went to see her. In the end, she gave me a job. I started working for her. She is the person who gave me the first introduction to a computer, Rose Mazula. So I was supporting my family, my siblings, since I was now earning. And I still remember very, very, very well that one day I saw a vision when I was at a rural community. Then people were dying. And someone was telling me that, you see, people are dying because there is no medication in this area. These diseases which are killing these people are treatable, but the medication needs to be in a refrigerator. There is no energy. That is the day God gave me the vision of harnessing natural radio waves, convert them into pure energy. And I'm proud to say that today we are the first people who have done that in the world. Like us or hate us, that's a fact. We have seen it, we have tested it. It was tested outside the country, it works. So what we have is called a microsonic energy device. But before I got to the microsonic energy device, like where we are right now, around 2013, that's 2003, that's when God gave me the vision. I started to work on it. And that time I was working on 3 projects. I began to be very much interested in radio frequencies. And I'm so good in radio frequencies. That's something that I know back to back. You cannot confuse me when you talk about radio frequencies. I've sat down with the best professors, best engineers in the world, the likes of Nassim Haramein, if you know him. I've sat down with him in the United States of America. I've sat with the likes of Michael, the great writers of science. They don't believe that I'm not educated. I'm good when you talk about radio frequencies. I'm so good in them. Most of my projects, I'm not boasting, but I'm telling you, you cannot confuse me when you talk about radio frequencies. And I'm good on them. I've started to write my new discoveries, which I believe they are going to be written in science books. They are going to change the way that we think about radio frequencies, the way that we think about energy, the laws of energy and thermodynamics, and everything. They are going to change. And we can only prove that by testing and demonstrating the technology, and you see that it works. So that time I was working on microsonic energy device, before I even think of a name, the greener power of green machine. And I was working on my second biggest project, which was a digital navigation facilitator. That was the first big project that I did. A machine that is used it facilitates when an aircraft is landing. It calculates the position. It tells the engines the thrust to use. It calculates everything, even without the pilot. The aircraft can land autonomous. I did it in 2013. That project, I went with it to the Air Force of Zimbabwe. I went with it to the Zimbabwe Aviation Technical Training School. But unfortunately, because I'm not educated, I never got any support. That was the dead of it. Then from around 2003, that time, after the navigation facilitator, like I said, I was working on different projects at once. I abandoned the navigation facilitator, and I began to work on, to put my resources and my efforts on the greener power of grid machine that we have today. It was not an easy journey. I went through a lot. No one can stand here today and say, I funded Maxwell. That's a lie. I funded myself through God. So I know that a lot of people, they gave me names. Some they call me a scammer. I don't remember asking anyone for a cent. I did it myself. I started driving some combis going to Mtare, using the resources on the projects. I later left in 2007, went to South Africa, started driving some trucks cross-border. I was very young. I was funding the projects alone. Then in 2009, I was robbed in South Africa, and I was homeless for 2 weeks. I was staying in a golf club, in a golf course. No food, no shelter, no clothes. One day I had to walk from Alberton, if people know where is Alberton, to Joburg City Center. Then I met a lady who I had gave a lift before when she was coming to South Africa. That was, I think, an act of God. And she saw I was dirty. She's the lady who called my mom. And he said, your son is here homeless and is destitute. My mom had to raise money for bus fare for me so that I can come from South Africa to Zimbabwe. I stroked one side, the right side, the left side to say, the day that I arrived in Harare at Roadport, my brother, he was coming to fetch me, he had an accident. I was left at the Roadport alone, lying in the lawn. My brother came later in the day. He took me because I didn't have 50 cents for me to go to Kwadza, our home. So when my mom saw me, she cried, she said, he's a dead person. It was a difficult time for the whole family. My late sister, she was still alive that time. They were praying for me, and one day I felt that I'm going to die. I called everyone and I said, please, today I'm dying, so I just want you to be with me. But before I die, please, can you take me to the church that I built when I was 15 years old? They took me, they find someone who gave them a car, they took me. I just lay my hands wherever I remember that I laid a brick. I put cement. That was my healing. The doctor who saw me when I was sick, he put me on ECG machine. The day that he saw me, well fit and alive, he said, I cannot believe this, it's only God. That is the day the greener power, the microsonic energy device, started working. From 2003 to 2009. The first working prototype, if you have got it, you can put it on the screen. That's when it started working. This was a broadcasting transmitter. This is the first greener power of grid machine. It was a 2,000 watts. I took this machine all over the world in a backpack. The first country which heard about me was the government of Lesotho. They sent me air tickets. That was the first time I was in a plane. I went to Lesotho with my sister. She's now in England. We did a presentation. They gave me a citizenship and a 1 million deal. That was in 2009. I came back to tell my mom, a good Christian friend said, before you go to Lesotho, I want you to meet a man. I think that man, you can work with him. He introduced me to Zek Wazara, the former group CEO of Econet Wireless. He became my partner. We started a company we called Spirit Max. Spirit Edge Group, which was his company. Max Inventions, which is my company. Then we formed Spirit Max. That was the first company that I owned in Zimbabwe. I traveled that man, and we went all over the world. He was starting a telecoms company. Then he gave me a task and he said, Max, I want you to create a base station for me for Wi-Fi. That time Wi-Fi could not shake hands. BT Open Zone, if you go on one base station, when you move, there will be a breakage of signal. With Zekwazara, I did the first working prototype and the first technology that shake hands in data, even when you are moving. It won't break. The same way the cell phones operate. Unfortunately, what happened. I think a lot of people read about how Spirit Edge Group was liquidated. I then met a guy. I'm trying to cut it short so that at least I cannot bore you. I met a guy in South Africa. A good friend of mine took me to South Africa when I left Zekwazara. We went for Joburg City Power to make a presentation for new and renewable energy with our small machine, the 2000 watts, that you saw. When I was in South Africa, we got a deal, but a lot of people, they want to just eat what they did not kill. So the director who was on top, he said, for me to give you a deal, you must give me something. We didn't agree, then we left. That's how I met the late Dr. Ted D. Almeida. When I met Dr. Ted D. Almeida, we made a church. We just heard that he's a businessman. He has got interest in new and renewable energy, aviation, and a number of things. So we introduced ourselves. Dr. Ted D. Almeida invited us on Monday to come at his office. We went with that machine. We put it on the table, and we said, we have got this. He gave us a fan to test. We blow that fan. It was so embarrassing for us. Then he stood up and said, this machine is working. You blow the fan. How? We got a deal. But that deal never lasted because people, they started to disagree on what each and everyone was going to get. I came back to Zimbabwe. I started concentrating with my work. No one was funding me. God is so faithful. Dr. Teddy was at a certain church. Then he called me after some time. I had already forgotten about him. And he said, Max, do you remember Teddy? They said, which Teddy? Yeah, Teddy from South Africa. Okay, now I remember. Said, how soon can you go to South Africa? Then I said, Dr. Teddy, I think I can go to South Africa as soon as I got money for transport. He said, no, my personal assistant will arrange that for you. He had a private jet. He flew his jet to South Africa. I went to South Africa. That was my first time to be in a business class through that man. When I went there, he said, how much do you want? I saw a man of God and he told me that there is a Zimbabwean who came to your office. You must help him. I don't want anything as before in your company. I just want to help you. My first $500,000 to start Saith Technologies came as a seed from Dr. Teddy D. Almeida. So when we started the Saith in Zimbabwe, we were in Bluffview that time. I was working with Pastor and other guys. Zekwazara, I had to call him back. Koma, things now well. Can you come back? Then he came back. We started working together nicely. That time I did the first working prototype of a 0.5 megawatt that Pastor was talking about. I did a helicopter. And I did the first electric car. You can put it so that people they can see. It was done in 2015. This was our first electric car that we did. When we did this project, it got some headlines. God is so faithful. We saw the end of God. But, scientists, engineers, they love to be in the lab most of the time. They don't like commercialization. So we're busy perfecting. By the time the United States of America heard about us, time was already past. I only went to the United States of America in 2016 through the US Africa Business Forum with Dr. Teddy. That's my journey when I left Zimbabwe to the United States of America. I was based in California. First, we were in Santa Monica. That time, we did a lot. I started developing drones. By the time I came back to Zimbabwe, I was working on drones. To cut the long story short now, that was the journey. The reason I had to take you through, I'm not a fly-by-night. I have history, and you can trace my history. But I am glad that today we have made it with God. It was not an easy journey, I was poisoned. It was not an easy journey, I was threatened. Pastor received one day a call, his son is in the United States of America. Someone telling him that we know where your son is in the United States of America, we're going to kill him. He called me. But they want to kill my son. Those are the threats that we receive day in, day out. He is there. So we have seen a lot. Energy is an uncharted territory. Very, very dangerous. We lost our beloved ones. We went through hell. But by the grace of God, we are here. So today, I am going to take you through what God gave us. This thing is revolutionizing the whole industry of energy. We are the first people in the world to have managed to tap into little energy, which is measured in microvolts, convert it into energy that can kill even an adult. We are talking of megawatts of power. We have done it. The microsonic energy device, as I said, it is a device that uses natural radio waves and converts them into pure, useful energy. 70% of the components are tailor-made. I'm the one who designed them. They are under my name. The microsonic energy device, like Pastor said, it is not a device. Okay, let me rephrase. We are not making cars, but we have got a solution that can make cars drive unlimited driving ranges until you are tired. We have got a device that we are now, when we started, I think you saw the 2,000 kilowatts, the half a megawatt, what did you put? It was big, 17 tons machine. Right now we are reducing. We've got a device that can power a television. We've got a device that can power small appliances. This was a gigantic 500 kilowatts power station, 15 tons. This is the machine that Foster Gamble came and tested with these scientists from the United States of America. To those who doesn't know Foster Gamble, he is a billionaire in America. He is the heir of Procter & Gamble. We are talking of people who have got money. So I don't know people when they comment, where are they getting that kind of information? We are like beggars, we're not beggars, no. We're surrounded with rich people. So now I want to unveil the microsonic energy device, and you are the first people in the world, after Foster Gamble, who are seeing what is the microsonic energy device and how it looks like. The first machine that recharges itself with the battery management system that we put. It is very, very intelligent pass-through system where you can recharge the battery and getting current from the battery at the same time. Those are some of the things that we've managed to do, which were called impossible to do. So this is the microsonic energy device, ladies and gentlemen. This is the machine. I'll switch it on for you. You are going to see for the first time This machine recharging itself right now, harnessing energy, it tells you how much energy it is harnessing in watts form and how much it is putting in the machine. So I'm just waiting that they can give me something so that I can switch it on. The reason we put it in the glass, we wanted you to see that. I saw that a lot of people, they say there's solar panel, I'll get to that. You can see it's not connected to anything. It's okay. The microsonic energy is now on. It's analyzing. You see, it's charging itself. As you can see, the battery is now going up. You see? This device can last for 20 years. We are privileged that we are the first people to have this solution in the whole world. I'm so happy. I've got friends who came from Sweden, from Switzerland. I am so happy that I've got friends who came from the United States of America to just support us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the microsonic energy device. Now the power is in your hands. You don't need a grid anymore. You don't need any external recharging system. As long as God is still alive and the radio waves are still there, being emitted from the galaxy, the sun, you still have your energy. This is free energy. So if you hear people saying there is no free energy, there is free energy. We have violated the natural law of science. So I'm very happy when I see this machine. It was a very long journey, like I said, not easy to walk. Trying to protect it, we tried to file a patent. It was not easy. Went as far as London. It was not easy. People would say, these guys are crazy. How can you say that we can violate the natural laws of physics? I'll tell you something that is very interesting. There was a war that happened between Nikola Tesla and his employer, Edison Thomas. Edison Thomas was busy making DC generators, and the whole of New York was crowded with wires. It was so dark. Nikola Tesla managed to invent a technology that can transmit energy with thin wires on a very long distance. At a very, either you increase the frequency or you decrease the frequency. It depends where the energy is going. Edison Thomas had to take elephants and executed them, just trying to prove that it was dangerous. But Nikola Tesla stood, and today he's known as the father of electricity. When Henry Ford said everyone must own a car, there was war again between him and the horse breeders. The horse breeders say, no, right now we cannot get money from breeding the horses, whatever. There was war. So what we have, don't even be surprised why we are attacked left, right, and center. It is like that. This is something new. But we are trying to penetrate in a world that has got its own ways of thinking, its own ways of doing things. And a lot of people, they are trying to protect their interests. We have got the oil cabals who see this as a threat. Imagine if you are driving a car for 20 years and never refuel every day. Just imagine. When we went to Kaya, can you put the pictures? When we went to Kaya, I saw so many patients. The first company that I approached was BYD. I've got the technology, ladies and gentlemen. Can you work with me? No, we're not taking new projects. It's okay. I went to NEO. No, we are not taking any new projects. So one of the engineers at NEO, he gave me a business card after the meeting, and he said, please call me. I called him and he said, I've got a friend, I think he can help you. We went to the same university. I was still in China. Then he linked me to that guy. They make body parts for different cars in China. So when I explained to him over the phone, I'm coming from Zimbabwe, I've got this kind of a technology, so I'm trying to see which company I can work with. That guy said, are you able to fly to my province? I want to link you to someone who can help you. Then I committed myself, I went to that province. He took me to his friend again, who is the director of KAIA. I explained to them, we were in a boat and I was the only black person. You can see the pictures, you can see when the cars were being developed. When I was leaving, my translator said, the Chinese didn't like you. They think that we are joking. They're not making sense. I had money in my pocket, I gave them in the car and I said, please, just pay them. If I'm going to lose my money, it's okay. If they can do it with my money, I'll be so happy. By so doing, the next day, an agreement was sent. I signed an agreement. We signed production of the cars. We never bought the cars. We make the cars with KAIA. The cars remain KAIA cars. What we are using in the cars is our technology. On Friday, I got a message from KAIA. They said, people from all over the world are calling us and saying, how much are your electric cars? We said, no, we don't have those free energy electric cars. There are only 2 in Zimbabwe. That's a fact. There are so many Zimbabweans who called KAIA trying to find out if I was bogus. And I was told, it's sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. But we thank God that we're here today. We have the first car in the world that doesn't need external recharging system. We are going to use that car to power some appliances. You can drive that car to your house. You can connect and power your house. Instead of drawing power from your house, it's now vice versa. The game has changed. We have done it. We went further to do a motorbike. We partnered other companies again. We did motorbikes. They have the same working principle. Now you can take your motorbike. You can even cook from your motorbike. You can put your stove in a backpack. We have done it. We have done TVs that we have. And we thank God for everything. Why I had to say this, I wanted you to understand there was a misconception. We don't make cars, we're an energy, new and renewable energy company. We make solutions that can change any car. Being it Mercedes-Benz, being it Hyundai, whatever car that you have, that you can think of, we can make retrofits where you can just buy the kits, convert your own car, then you know that you're okay. That's what we have done. The whole idea and Saith is birthed on freeing people, making people independent. Right now, you can even go and stay in a rural area. You have got your energy, so you can buy whatever Starlink if you want. Then you can work from your rural area. I'm so happy. I saw my good friend from South Africa, Tess. He stood with me for a very long time. What pains me the most, before I close so that we can go and see the product that we've done. My fellow Zimbabweans were at the forefront of, what can I say? Those were the people who wanted my downfall. The people that stood with me over the years are none Zimbabweans. I've got Emmanuel from Switzerland. I've got Hunter from United States of America, from Czechoslovakia.
Israel.
Ephraim, you see. I've got people from Israel who came for me. Those were the people who stood with me. I'm just mentioning a few. And the gentleman, Nadim, thank you so much. These are the people who stood with me. By the time His Excellency knew that I was doing a project, he decided to help me because he saw that I was dedicated and I was on it. Before I did this car, let me take you back a little. I bought a Toyota Acquire. We dismantled it. Do you have the pictures? We dismantled it. We converted it into a pure free energy car. We would take that car in the bush, would plug a grinder, would plug a welding machine, then we start to work from our car. So when I started talking to the president about that, like he said in the video, that I thought that Max was something. But he gave me the benefit of doubt and he said, I will support you. Yes, I might not give you money. But I will support you. And I thank His Excellency the President of Zimbabwe, Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa. He stood with me. I was charged 96% on customs duty to bring these cars. It was 96%. I paid it in full. I sold my house. I sold my cars. Right now I don't have a car. I only have these 2 cars. I sold everything to make sure that this dream will not die. And I am happy today. I'm happy today that we've done it. And I thank everyone who played a role, who supported me. The guys from C Media. Engineer Quinton Kankamu, he's like a father, a brother, a mentor. He's everything to me. He is the only person who believed in me. They were sent, I think there were 5 scientists who were sent by the previous government in 2015. Because I refused to give the other guys what they wanted, they wrote a report which was demanding on my side. He is the only person who stood me by me. He wrote his own report, and I'm saying this in public. He is a man with a good heart. He stood with me for me to be where I am today. So I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to take you through so that you can understand who is Maxwell. Maybe I'm the scammer that people talked about. Maybe I'm the armed robber, which they talked about. I don't know. I'm determined. And starting from tomorrow, the cars will be on markets. The TVs will be on markets. The motorbikes will be on markets. We have completed the R&D. We have got all certifications that we wanted. Right now we're in compliance, CE standards, FCC standards, ISO certifications. We have everything that is needed. We thank God for that. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Holding it like this. Yeah. You know, I think one thing that we need to educate our fellow Zimbabweans is that in many cases, in many cases, when we are developing products, we don't start from scratch. We either buy some of the components over the counter, or can someone come and hold this for me? Yeah, so that people. You start as a prototype. What that means is you don't start by developing the end product. You start by looking wherever you can get what you think it can work. Then you test. Right now, when we did these machines, we liked the design. I saw a lot of people were saying Brodo or whatever, solar panel. We just liked the case. It was something that we had in mind, especially for the rural community. Something that is dust-proof, waterproof, IP67, and also portable, that even a farmer can just carry around. So I want you to tell me, I don't know where I think we wanted something to test. I don't know. Can we have something to connect? Okay, we'll power the fridge with this one. As you can see, show everyone, the machine, it tells you how much power is getting in. It has got in and out. It's telling you how much radio frequency it's converting right now into pure energy. So I don't know, maybe we put a solar somewhere. Yeah. So people were misinformed. We just liked the design, and we bought the design.
This company is not Broadwell. It's a company which is found in Shenzhen. Broadwell, they're just buying and using their name. So we talk to this company and they agree to license us their cover, then we put it for those reasons. So this is a greener power off-grid machine. We've got 600 watts and 1000 watts. We decided to go smaller when I was talking to the president. Like I said, right now our focus is on Africa. We want everyone in Africa to have the freedom. So we're looking at a small machine that is a cost competitiveness. For example, if you can sell this machine at $500, a tobacco farmer can afford to purchase it and use it at his house. You can power your fridge, you can power your iron, you can do all those kind of things. So it's giving you the liberty, the freedom to do whatever that you wanted to do. We have got bigger machines that goes to about 100 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts. But those machines are quite expensive and mostly they are for businesses. So we decided to say, no, these ones, they can be bought with people, not over the counter, people they can press in orders. So this is our greener power off-grid machine. But I wanted, I don't know if you can find some free energy device, because what you need is the input power. That's what we are giving you. We're giving you the input power. What we have done, we have managed to erase the batteries. We have managed, and we hope, with brothers from Congo, we hope that the war maybe will end with this kind of initiative, because no one will be in demand on lithium ion. Yeah, so we just hope that it might help that conflict to end.
Amen.
We thank God with this technology. So we've got this, these are the smallest machines that we're doing, but right now we're working on.
Is there no battery in there?
There's a setup battery, but that is very small, like I'm saying. Because remember, when you talk about batteries, you're talking about energy density. The reason electric cars are very expensive is the battery. 70% of the cost of the electric car is a battery, which weighs about half of its weight. So we managed to erase that. We don't need much energy. We need only less energy. That means our cars can even carry a heavy load now, because the battery is eliminated, but we've got a startup battery. Technology, the pass-through that the only less energy will go to recharge the battery, but the greater power of the energy powers the device. So that is the beauty of it now. If you understand what I'm saying, those people who understand like how batteries work. For example, in a car, in a typical car, the acid batteries, they've got your alternator has got a regulator. So when you're using a battery, that means the alternator is off. But when we are using, when a battery is depleted, for you to recharge and use it at once, it is very impossible. They don't have that technology yet, we have got it. That's the pass-through technology that you can now take power from it and recharging it at the same time. So the regulator now cuts off the power that has to be coming from the battery, and it will redirect it direct to the car from the alternator. So this is what we have done. We have made it possible that a small battery can now do something that is big. Then on the car, I think we're going to demonstrate all the cars that you know. If you go to Kaya right now, all their cars, you have to plug in either a DC charging station or an AC charging station. Our car is the first car. This is a generator. I think if you can go to the fridge, you can see he is going to plug in, and you will see that the fridge is going to be powered by a car. Like I said, you can buy a car. You don't need to have a generator at your home. You use your car.
Okay. Right, we trace it. Tukanda chando.
That's the car. The person who has the vacation, you can come and see.
We
So is the microsonic device?
What we have done, like we said, the microsonic energy device is the invention that we have done, and we are trying to protect it. We have embedded it in the vehicle.
Okay.
Yes. And it has got a self-destructive technology. On the 150 wires on this car, if you try to tamper with 5 of them, we will classify. You destroy the microsonic energy device, both the software and the hardware. That's how we are protecting the technology, because we couldn't get a patent.
So more like encryption.
Yes, it's encrypted. It's on right now.
It's on.
Oh,
Yeah.
So there are no mechanical, there are no like moving parts.
The only moving part that you will see on this car is a reduction gearbox, but you don't have to maintain it or to service
The
it.
generator doesn't have.
The generator doesn't have any moving parts. Usually those type of devices that are known as zero-point energy. So you cannot even maintain it, you cannot service it, because there is no friction that is happening.
Wow.
Working on ways on how to protect the technology in the event that we lose it. For example, we go in a country, we will set up a power station, there's a hostile takeover, we're tricked. How do you protect our technology? That's why we took the trade secret route. Our patent is kept, our design is kept, the recipe is kept in 3 countries, and the people who are keeping it, they don't even know each other. The second thing, we try to protect the hardware side, because if the engineer remove like a circuit board, you can trace, you can see that this is a rectifier, this is a microchip. So we put a small amount of a detonator to say, but that cannot harm anyone. But if you just try to tamper with it, you blow it. That's part of the circuit board. Also on the software, if someone can have the source code, he can try to do reverse engineering. So we work on an algorithm that if you tamper with certain wires on the vehicle, you are going to destroy the microsonic energy device. Yeah.
So you can't tamper.
You cannot tamper with it. If you tamper with it, then you lose your investment.
Question, what would be the market price for it?
Right now we're still doing costing. I think before the end of this week we have the final costing, but it's going to be cheaper. That I can.
So which products do you have on the market?
The car,
Are the batteries on the market?
the greener power of grid machines are on the market. The TVs are on the market. The bikes are on the market. The cars as well, they are on the market.
So when you say on the market, where would one buy one?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to buy a battery, where would you go?
Right now we're doing, I think you saw the company that we partnered like in Zimbabwe, which was doing that video. That's our agent concentrating marketing. But right now we are using the Tesla model, which we are using that we don't want to have middlemen, because the prices will be so high to the end users. So we're saying people, they'll buy straight from Saith in other countries, then they'll get their products there. For example, we are setting up in Switzerland, so it is going to cover Europe and some parts of Europe. Then we have got other countries that will pick up in like in Central Africa, East Africa, and Northern Africa, which will cover differently.
So what's the maximum speed for this and from?
Listen and answers we can we're going.
Yeah.
It's enough. We've been trying.
Difficult to put out, but it's also very dangerous from a fumes perspective. You know, it's poisonous. So, we formulated a partnership with specifically Supercat battery manufacturers in South Africa. The West, I don't know if you heard of West. So that's why the question. So if you're interested, we can always do something to see how we can further test it. We've tested so far lithium-ion batteries. We've tested the solid-state lithium-ion battery in our system at Spago. So there's a lot of stuff that we've learned from just the batteries itself. So if you want to lean on us from that perspective, we're there for you. Okay?
Thank you very much. I think it's something that we'll be looking forward to do. I think you saw when we did the first machine that Foster Gamble managed to test, it had 22 batteries, isn't it?
220 volts.
Yeah, you see, so 22 batteries, that was huge. But right now we're using very small batteries. Yeah. So as technology evolves, I think we will discuss further, and we are keen to hear from you. Then we can see how best we can work together. Cheers.
You know, you were talking about this microsonic device. I wanted to know, it's generating power from electromagnetic waves, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
So I want to know, is it going to work the same regardless of where I am? So if I'm in, a place where there is no signal or whatever, is it going to work the same?
Definitely it's going to work. The only place that we know it won't work because of lack of penetration is like under the mine. But if the machine is on the surface, then you run the cables inside, then you're going to be okay.
So which signal is this? This electromagnetic signal,
Yes.
where is it coming from?
What we have done, we have classified it as a trade secret because that's where the IP lays. The moment we start to tell you what kind of you will try to work on it. So that's where the IP is.
Some of our stories have been dismissed. I work for international media myself. I remember getting to write an apology to scientists in a certain country who are saying that they can't prove your technology. This has been the battle. When people say your microsonic technology can't be proven, what do you say to that?
You know, thank you very much for it, because we had not found ways of protecting the IP, like I said. From 2015 to 2024 right now, we have been working. Foster Gamble has been the first foreigner to have the privilege of working on the machine for those same few years. So right now we have put in a number of tests that we're going to be doing soon after this launch. As you know, in science we say, prove it. It's not about arguing it, proving. So we drive our car to Cairo, live on TV, everyone watching. That would be enough proof. And right now we're doing this because we are now on the commercial level. So I understand what you're saying very well. And also the other thing, my brother, that I want to tell you, I think I've explained to you the issues of, like when I said the Henry Ford story. You know, Carl Benz, when he did his car, they said don't drive it, it's very dangerous. The horse-driven chariots, whatever the carriers, were much safer. Until his wife took the car and drove it to his parents, to her parents' home. So sometimes you have to take those bold moves to just prove, you see. That day when Beta drove that 60-mile journey, it changed everything. It changed everything. So what I have seen in my journey is we have got the cabals who are not happy about us. Most of these oil companies, they are not happy. They see us as a threat with their technology. Solar is not a threat because solar is very expensive. You need so many panels, you need so many batteries, whatever. We are talking of something smaller that you can even carry around by powering your house. So you are threatening someone's business. Those people were the people who were fighting us in the past, like you say, even the scientists. You know, there are people who say, we are not open to anything new to say. I think that's the term that I can use. They say, what is there, but we are not going to do to approve something. We have seen a lot. We have seen a lot.
I think Max, from an academic point of view, theories are developed by people, and then theories are approved. You know, after you develop a theory, it has to be tested, and then you actually affirm the theory. So here is a car that is there. So to answer the question, how do you prove it? I mean, there's no car in the world that has got unlimited driving range. So if the car is driven, even, let's say for example, even if it does 2,000 kilometers, there's no car that does 2,000 kilometers. There's no car that does 3,000 kilometers. So it's violating certain principles. We must celebrate. We are yet to take what God has actually laid out there. It is very limiting to human beings to limit themselves to some certain philosophers who lived some